Panthers fans, you wanted a wide receiver for Bryce Young? You got one. Diontae Johnson is your new wide receiver. Pittsburgh Steelers have traded Diontae Johnson to the Panthers for Donte Jackson and a swap of 6th and 7th round selections. Diontae Johnson is the separator that the Panthers have been looking for to get open. I know, a foreign concept for Panthers fans. Trust me, I can relate. I'm a Patriots fan. Separating at the wide receiver position, running crisp routes. Diontae Johnson is a route technician, and he can complement what the Panthers already have in that wide receiver room, which is not much, admittedly. But they do have Adam Thielen, who can play in the inside, in the slot, and he was the most productive and consistent receiver and target for Bryce Young and has a good rapport with the young quarterback. Diontae, just like Bryce, is not the biggest guy in the world, but he actually can play on the outside due to his quick feet, his ability to beat press coverage, and get down the field. He primarily plays on the outside at 5'10", 183 pounds. He is currently 27 years of age, turning 28 in July. Diontae Johnson has had some great seasons in the NFL, like 2021, where he was named a Pro Bowler. 107 catches, 1,161 yards, and 8 touchdowns in that season. But you know what happened after that season? Ben Roethlisberger retired, and the Pittsburgh Steelers had not been able to replace the quarterback position at a competent level. Diontae Johnson asked to be traded by the Steelers. He has been granted his wish, and maybe that's a red flag for Panthers fans that he might not be the biggest fan of the situation in Carolina. But a guy like Diontae Johnson, he just wants to get the ball. He just wants to be able to make plays. And Bryce Young, first overall pick, has the accuracy, the touch, the rhythm to be able to do so. And Bryce Young needs targets. You need to give this young quarterback a chance. They have done that with the offensive line signings. Now they may have a chance to do that with the wide receiver trade. Diontae Johnson is by far the best receiver on this team now, and by far the best receiver they've had in a couple of years. He is kind of similar to DJ Moore in some ways. He's a little bit smaller. He's fast. He can get down the field. But I think he's different. DJ Moore is more of a physical receiver. He's more pure speed, break tackles, yards after catch. Diontae Johnson is a really good, crisp route runner. Like, this guy can run elite routes at all 3 levels, short, intermediate, and deep. He can burn a DB. And, yeah, a little bit inconsistent with the hands over the years, but he is a constant target generator, which is what you're looking for at wide receiver. Right? You look at his targets, right? 92 as a rookie, then 144, 169, 147. It's a lot of targets, which means he's open, which means that the quarterback's actively trying to find him and get him the ball, right? Other stats can be misleading in terms of how often does a guy get open. Targets are a big tell. And then you look at 923 yards at 24 years old, 7 touchdowns, 88 catches. 882 yards, 86 catches last year at 26. And then last year, 51 catches, 717 yards in just 13 games, which he was on pace for actually more yards per game last year than the year before. So Diontae Johnson is a fluid, crisp receiver that's going to bring something different that the Panthers did not have last year. When diving a bit deeper into Diontae Johnson's play, I think you would look at the quarterback position for the Steelers and say that, that's a big reason he hasn't been a 900, 1,000-yard receiver as of late. I think he has all the tools to be a back-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 in the NFL. He was the 25th graded receiver in football last year, according to PFF, which is a good number considering, his stats, right? 25th in the NFL. That's pretty good right now. And then you look at his career, that's actually the highest graded season of his career. He played 502 snaps out wide, 143 in the slot. And he's still in his prime, if not, he's just entering it at 27. I think this is a guy that has the explosiveness, the quickness to be able to play at a pretty high level until he's 30. I'm not saying he's, the next coming of Steve Smith, but he's a good player. He's going to be your best receiver. He's going to get open, which are all things that you have to love if you're a Panthers fan watching the wide receiver position. Even when DJ Moore was there, the other receivers were so tough to watch. So Diontae Johnson is now the Panthers' #1 receiver. It will be fascinating to see what they do. This is an interesting move because he's not going to cost like a ton. He's a pretty manageable contract. You only had to flip like a corner that you guys don't even think is very good and a late round pick for Diontae Johnson and another late round pick. That's a pretty good deal considering you would have to like trade a second for T. Higgins, right? So considering the other potential avenues of getting receivers, this was a really good one. I like this move for the Panthers, and I wouldn't be shocked if Diontae caught 90 passes with Bryce Young throwing them the ball in 2024. The Carolina Panthers have gotten a lot more powerful within the past 24 hours. The Panthers have signed not one, but two big men on the offensive line to protect Bryce Young and to power the running game of the Carolina Panthers. Old school style. Robert Hunt was the marquee signing of the day, signing a 5-year, $100 million contract that includes $63 million guaranteed. Robert Hunt is one of the best guards in football with great versatility. He can play inside, he can play tackle as well. He has sprinkled that in throughout the course of his career. Robert Hunt, graded as the 6th best guard in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus this past season, with a balanced run and pass profile. What I like about Robert Hunt and what I think a lot of NFL teams like about Robert Hunt, second round pick in 2020. So he's always been a pretty good prospect, but he's turned into a player that's had physical talent to be able to move well, to be physically powerful, but then also to be a refined pass blocker as well as a good mover in the running game. So he can fit any system. I think he's a scheme versatile guy, which means he's very easy to foresee playing in any offense, which means it makes it a lot easier to pay him because you know that it's not a scheme thing, which I think the Panthers have fallen into in the past with signing certain guys like Bradley Bozeman, for example, just off the top of my head, that hasn't exactly worked out because he was in the wrong scheme or just didn't exactly fit, right? But Robert Hunt, these past 3 years, this is his 4th year this past season in 2023. He graded as the 6th best lineman. In 2022, he graded as the 12th best lineman. In 2021, he graded as the 36th best lineman. In 2020, he graded as the 50th best lineman. You see a trend here, 50th to 36th, 36th to 12th, 6th to 1st. I don't know. But just saying, he's really good. And he's still pretty young. He's about 27. He's going to be 28 in August, late August. So this is a guy that's mostly been healthy throughout his career as well. This past season, he did miss 6 games, but otherwise he's played in every other game that he's been on the football field. And yeah, he's played right tackle. He's played right guard for primarily his entire career. So he's been put in awkward positions because of the amount of injuries that the Dolphins have sustained. A lot like Michael Onwenu, he has versatility to play both positions. I do think he's going to play guard, though, but I don't 100% know because the Panthers have gone out and signed another guard here and that I'm going to talk about in a second. But they also have, obviously, a former first-round pick at a tackle position. They also have a highly paid right tackle, Taylor Moton, or Moton, depending on what you're telling me his name is nowadays. But it's interesting. So Brady Christensen, in my opinion, has sucked for years. He was a 3rd-round pick in 2021. Ekwonu is the left tackle. Taylor Moton is the right tackle. They don't have a center unless Austin Corbett is going to be their center, but I don't really know. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do because Ekwonu, many people thought he might play guard, but is that going to happen if they sign Hunt and Damian Lewis, who I'm going to talk about next? So I'm not quite sure. Maybe they're just getting 2 guards. Maybe that's just what they're doing. because Brady Christensen has kind of sucked. Maybe Cade Mays is going to be their center, who graded 42nd on the guard position. Apparently good run blocker. Don't know him that well. You guys would probably know him better as Panther fans out there. They obviously cut Bradley Bozeman. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But regardless, they've signed 2 good guards that I both really like. I like Damian Lewis a lot too. I'm been a big fan of Damian Lewis. If I'm not mistaken, I think I included him in my gems underrated free agents. If not, I included him in at least one of these videos. But Damian Lewis has been one of my favorites because I love big, beefy, downhill, beat you into the ground guards. I like people that beat people up. And Damian Lewis does that. He's 6'2", 327 pounds, absolute monster. He is 26 years old. He has played pretty much 16 games every year of his career. He missed 3 games in 2021. Otherwise, he has played every single game, so he's pretty healthy. In 2020, he was listed as a 2020 NFL All-Rookie team member, and he is a better run blocker than pass blocker. I would say that Robert Hunt is definitely the better player. Robert Hunt is the more well-rounded player. Robert Hunt has more versatility. Lewis is a power blocking guard. He could probably play zone scheme as well as he has in Seattle, but I think of him as a power blocking guard. He graded as the 37th best guard in football last year with 926 snaps. The previous seasons, though, as a rookie, he was 13th out of 80, and as in 2022, he was 11th. So he's been really good a couple times in his career through 4 seasons. So 2 really good signings, in my opinion. This was for 4 years, $53 million, 26.2 fully guaranteed in a deal by the Panthers. So 2 guards, 2 upgrades to protect Bryce Young, the little man at quarterback, which is very much needed because you need to protect Bryce Young. He is your franchise, and you need to be able to complement Bryce Young with a running game. So receiver will be next, I assume. But I like these additions. I think the Panthers are doing the right thing by going offense right now in free agency with 2 good young offensive linemen who are young but also proven. So that is the Carolina Panthers.